I haven't made a book haul for the month of August yet, so I decided to do that, and as promised in my last video, I'm in a new location with a new bookshelf, which I will show at some point during this video, my whole bookshelf. It's very exciting to have a bookshelf in a apartment away from home. It's really nice, and I guess it's just cool to kind of have one, but I will show you that at some point. This is just the lower section, and the bottom shelf hasn't been totally filled yet, but it will be probably after this video. I'm starting out with some books that I got for review, and I'm trying to think of where the first two came from. I can't remember. It's a Christian publisher, and if I remember, I'll put it in the description box down below. But they sent me two different books, which is really cool because lots of different reviewers and publishers usually only send one book, so it was nice that they sent two different books, and I haven't read them yet, but I hope to read them soon. The first one is Till We Meet Again. It's a memoir by Ray and Betty Whipps. Also, disclaimer, if I mispronounce any authors, I'm truly sorry. I'm not the best with names. But this is kind of, just looking at the picture, you can kind of tell what this is about. It's about a love story between Ray and Betty, and it's a historical nonfiction book. It's about their life and how they fell in love, and it's kind of a weird book for me to request because I'm not usually a historical fan and also not usually a nonfiction fan, but the idea behind this book, since it's kind of a romance, and I like romances, it kind of canceled out, I guess, the historical nonfiction of it, but yeah, so I will be reading that after I probably finish the book I'm reading now. The next book I have is from the same publisher as the previous book, and it is Girl in the Song by Chrissy Chimbala Toledo. And this book, the plot of it really interested me, and since I can't probably sum it up as well as the back of the book can, I'll read the last little paragraph that basically summarizes the book. It says, Girl in the Song tells the gripping true story of a young woman whose choices led her to despair and incredible triumph. More than the story of one lost girl, Chrissy's experience points to the power of hope to lead us away from destructive relationships and into a life that just might end happily ever after. And this book I'm actually really excited about. I think the cover of it is really cool. I'll probably read it after Till We Meet Again, hopefully, kind of in that time frame. But yeah, I'm really excited about this book too. And free books are always a good thing. Who doesn't love a free book? The last book that I got for free to review is a really popular book, and I got it from Blogging for Books. And I was kind of shocked to see it on the list of free books to choose from, because not to say that the books on there are not good, it's just a lot of them are usually just kind of quirky titles, or not usually books that are super popular. But I was surprised to see this one on there because I've heard a lot about it and I've heard it's really good, so I picked it up. It is Armada by Ernest Cline. I've heard, like I said, so many different people have been reading this book and loving it. And it wasn't a typical book for me because I'm not a science fiction fan, and hopefully I can kind of get myself into this book. I didn't pick it up and read it right away like I usually do, but I think it's going to be pretty good because I've heard so many different reviews and a lot of different people are interested in this book, and I'm interested also to read about it, so we will see how it goes. These next 5 books that I have, I bought at Half Price Books, and for those of you who don't know about Half Price Books, I highly, highly recommend it. They're not everywhere, but the bookstore is amazing, and over Labor Day weekend they had a sale for 20% off all the books in the store. And I was home for Labor Day, and that's where the Half Price closest to me is, so I went back and I wanted to kind of look at the books. And they have a lot of books, really good books in their clearance section, and every single book that I'm about to pull out was $1. So all 5 books together with the 20% off was about $4, so I mean, and they're all books that I've been interested in reading and know a lot about the author. The first book I have is Sweethearts by Sarah Zarr, and like I said, so I'm not very good at summarizing a book. I'm just going to read the back of the book for you. It says, as children, Jennifer Harris and Cameron Quick were both social outcasts. They're also each other's only friends, so when Cameron disappeared without warning, Jennifer thought she'd lost the one person who would ever understand her. Now in high school, Jennifer has been transformed. Known as Jenna, she's popular, happy, and dating. Everything Jennifer couldn't be, but she still can't shake the memory of her long-lost friend. When Cameron suddenly reappears, they both are confronted with memories of their shared past and the drastically different paths that their lives have taken. This book I picked up, I don't know really much about it, but I honestly picked up because it's a romance, and it's also kind of a shorter book, and I kind of, not that I don't like longer books, but I like reading shorter books when I'm away at college because I feel more accomplished when I read books that are shorter, because obviously I'm reading more of them and I don't know, so I guess I like shorter books, and I look this up. Usually when I go to half-price books, there's so many good books, and they're so cheap that lots of times I will look them up online on Goodreads to make sure that they have a good rating. And this book I looked up, and I had friends who'd read it, and they all gave it like 4 or 5 stars, so I was like, I think I can spare the dollar to buy this book. The next book I picked up was Perfect You by Elizabeth Scott. And this book is also kind of a romance. I don't know why there's a sticker on the back of it, but apparently there is, so I don't know how that happened, but I should probably take that sticker off. This says, Kate Brown's life has gone downhill fast. Her father has quit his job to sell vitamins at the mall, and Kate is forced to work with him. Her best friend has become popular, and now she acts like Kate is invisible. And there's Will, gorgeous, unattainable Will, whom Kate acts like she can't stand even though she can't stop thinking about him. When Will starts acting interested, Kate hates herself for wanting him when she's sure she's just his latest conquest. Kate figures that the only way things will ever stop hurting so much is if she keeps to herself and stops caring about anyone or anything. What she doesn't realize is that while life may not always be perfect, good things can happen, but only if she lets them. And again, this is one that was $1, so I couldn't resist it, and I'm interested in reading romances, so I was like, I think I can again spare the $1 for this book. Those books, the past 2 books I showed, were books I kind of picked up because I felt like I should, but there was one book that really caught my eye, and that'll be the last book I show in this series of 5 books. This next book is Waiting for You by Suzanne Coulson. I've heard a lot about Suzanne Coulson, and I've been wanting to read her books for a little while now, and I have 3 of her books, which is kind of weird, I guess, to purchase 3 books. I haven't even read a single one to be, I guess, that sure that I'll enjoy her books, but, I don't know, I guess I just kind of trust that I like her books. This one is another romance. At the beginning of her sophomore year, Marissa's ready for a fresh start and hopefully her first real boyfriend. Could it be popular dreamy Derek or geeky Nash who just might have a crush on her? Then there's the underground anonymous DJ whose podcast is the hottest thing at school and who seems to totally understand Marissa, but she doesn't know who he is, or does she? Again, just really interested in Suzanne Coulson lately, and that's why I picked this book up. This next book I'm going to show you is another Suzanne Coulson book. It's a book I'm currently reading, and here it is. This is When It Happens by Suzanne Coulson. This is actually her first book, which I didn't know that reading it. I just kind of picked one of the 2 that I had with me at the time, which was this one and the prior book, and this one I just kind of wanted to read, and I just, why not? This one is interesting. It was confusing to me at first when I first started reading it, but it kind of makes more sense as you go along. Seniors in high school, Sarah and Toby couldn't be more different. She's focused on getting into her first choice college. He wants to win Battle of the Bands. Sarah's other goal is to find true love, so when Dave, popular jock, asks her out, she's thrilled. But then there's Toby. His amazing blue eyes and quirky wit always creep into her thoughts. Lucky for Sarah, one of Toby's goals is also to make her fall in love with him. Told in alternating points of view, Sarah and Toby's real connection will have everyone rooting for them from the minute they meet. I think this is cool because it's told from different perspectives, and that's just an interesting idea, and hopefully I'll be writing a review about this when I finish, but hopefully I like this book. And this last book is a book that I saw on the dollar clearance section, and I was shocked to see it there because I've been wanting to read this book, and it's been on my TBR for a long time, so then I kind of just got into the whole deal of buying all the other books I previously showed. And this book is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this book, and it's been really popular. I picked this book up because I can't remember if it was Paper Towns. I assume it's Paper Towns, but I found a list online that said books you should read if you like that book, and so this was one of the books on the list. So I decided to pick it up, and I'll read the back of it, even though I'm sure a lot of you know what this is about. Anne Curry is not looking forward to her summer. Her mother decided to move across the country, and now it's Amy's responsibility to get their car from California to Connecticut. The only problem is, since her father died in a car accident, she isn't ready to get behind the wheel. Enter Roger, an old family friend. He also has to make the cross-country trip, and has plenty of baggage of his own. The road home may be unfamiliar, especially with their friendship venturing into uncharted territory, but together, Amy and Roger will figure out how to map their way. And that is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. These next 3 were books that I meant to show in my July book haul, but for whatever reason, they had hadn't arrived when I filmed that video, so that is why these are in this haul instead. And this book is is a book by Suzanne Coulson, like the other 2 I showed earlier, And this was the one that I'm most excited to read from her because it's that whole kind of along the lines of celebrities in the entertainment industry, and I really, really like books like that right now, so that is why I picked this one up. And I bought it for $4 on Amazon, and that's something that I highly recommend if you ever really want to read a book and it's not too popular, but it's kind of newer. You can usually go on Amazon, and lots of times there are booksellers that sell their book for a penny, and then you pay the $3.99 shipping, and then the book's $4, and that's what happened with this book. I paid a penny for it, and it's hardcover, and I mean, it's not in horrible shape, but it's not like in the best shape either. But I mean, again, it's a $4 book. How can that? What is wrong with, like, what's bad about that? It was great. This is Suzanne Coulson, Now and Forever, and basically, this is just about a girl who's dating this boy who's rising in popularity, and I've skimmed this book a few times because I'm pretty eager to read it, and it just kind of chronicles his life as he starts rising to the top, and I think each chapter is, shows his, I believe it's his Twitter followers, and just kind of their relationship over time, and following around this rock star, and just the kind of pressure the main character goes through once her boyfriend starts being known to the whole world. And these next two books, I bought both from Barnes & Noble because I had gift cards, and I'm not a huge Barnes & Noble fan just because I don't believe in buying books full price anymore, just because I can find books for really cheap. But again, I had gift cards, so I mean, it wasn't technically my money I was spending, it was other people's money, and I kind of want to use them, but I don't want to, I still don't want, even though they're gift cards, I don't want to buy a full price book. So these two books were on sale. The first book is Babyproof by Emily Giffin, and she's also the author of Something Borrowed, which is one of her more famous books. And I'm not going to read the whole back of the book, I'm just going to read the little end summary paragraph. It says, "This is the witty, heartfelt story about what happens to the perfect couple when they suddenly want different things and there is no compromise. It's about deciding what is most important in life and wagering everything to get it, and most of all, it's about the things we will and won't do for love." This book is just kind of about a couple who, they figure out that they don't want kids, and one of them decides they want kids, and just kind of that whole situation of, do they have kids, do they not have kids, how does that work? And this book was $5.98, which really isn't that cheap, but again, it's better than buying a full price new book at Barnes & Noble. And this last book that I got from Barnes & Noble is The Star Attraction by Alison Sweeney. Yes, the actress Alison Sweeney. This is again kind of along the lines of, I'm obsessed with like Hollywood pop culture books. This book is about a PR person who is a PR agent basically for a really popular actor, and she starts to develop a romance with this actor, and kind of just about whether that will help her job, hurt her job, that kind of idea. And this is cool because it's pop culture, Hollywood that I like, but it's also my journalism side that I like, so that's a cool mixture of the two, and I think it's going to be really interesting to read a book by Alison Sweeney, so that is that. And the last thing I have to haul is a box. A box from Book Outlet, and it doesn't have that many books in it, but it is crazy heavy because all the books pretty much in here are hardcover. But this is the box, and I purposely waited to unbox it because I think unboxing on videos are fun, because it's like Christmas for everybody, even if you're the viewer. So here we go. Oh, I'm about to drop the box because I don't know how to balance things. Okay, here we go. You're never supposed to cut towards yourself, but I'm doing it anyway. This is so hard to open a box on camera. I'm scared. Oh, this is real easy actually now. There we go. Perfect. No, I can't get this. Okay, now of course I can't get it undone. Can I rip it? Oh, there we go. Okay, so here we are. Okay. This is, I don't want to show the inside the box. I don't want to ruin all my books for myself. The first book that I have is Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld, and I haven't read a lot of his books, but this book was really interesting. The plot of it was really interesting, and I've seen it around a lot, and it's also super heavy. Like, it's hard to even hold this book up, but this book was $3.49 for a hardcover, so I was like, of course, why not? Like, I've heard a lot about this book, so I will read it. I almost hit myself in the face right there. Again, I'll read the plot line since I can't explain it as well as they can. It says, Darcy Patel is afraid to believe all the hype. What's really happening? Her teen novel is getting published. Instead of heading to college, she's living in New York City, where she's welcomed into the dazzling world of YA publishing. That means book tours, parties with her favorite authors, and finding a place to live that won't leave her penniless. It means sleepless nights, rewriting her first draft, and struggling to find the perfect ending, all while dealing with the intoxicating, terrifying experience of falling in love with another writer. Told in alternating chapters is Darcy's novel, the thrilling story of Lizzie, who wills her way into the afterworld to survive a deadly terrorist attack. With survival comes the responsibility to guide the restless spirits that walk our world, including one ghost with whom she shares a surprising personal connection. But Lizzie is not alone in her new calling. She has counsel from a fellow spirit guide, a very desirable one who is torn between wanting Lizzie and wanting her, and warning her that believing is dangerous. And of course, the first paragraph makes you believe it's not going to be some sort of fantasy like Scott Westfellow is known for, but then the fantasy comes in with the whole ghost idea. Like I said, this book, I just pulled my own hair. This book is really, really big, and like the pages, I don't know how to explain it, but they're like the thicker pages, so the book is real heavy. And the book is quite massive. This book is 600 pages long. This next book I have is The Day I Killed James by Catherine Ryan Hyde. And this book is actually a lot smaller than I expected it to be, so that's kind of good for me, like I said, because I like smaller books, so it's not a big deal for me. And this book was, let me see, how much was it? This book was $3. So, I mean, how can you pass that up? It says, when Teresa brings James to a party as her date, it's just for the night. And he knows that. But when everything goes horribly wrong, it becomes a night that will stay with Teresa forever, unless she can run away from the pain. This compelling tale of love and loss shows what it means to hold someone else's heart in your own hands, and how to begin to repair your own when it's been broken in two. So that is that. I think the cover of this book's really cool too, and that's honestly a little bit why I picked it up, and I read, the plotline of it and stuff. But this book is rather short. Like, how many pages is this book? 217. It's so little compared to the Scott Westerfeld Bible I just picked up. The next book I have is Leap of Faith by Jamie Blair, and this book was $5. Here it is. It says, oh, there's no back cover. Let's read the inside slip. It says, Leah Kurtz has finally found a place to call home, a town where she and baby Addie can live in peace, far from the drug-infested place she grew up. Chris is one of the best parts of it, the only person who has ever made Leah feel safe. Now that she's found him, there's no way she can tell the truth. Her real name is Faith, not Leah. She's 17, not 19. The baby isn't hers. She kidnapped her. This book, when I basically read it on Goodreads, when I basically read it on the book outlet, I basically knew I had to pick it up because it sounds really, really good. And this book is also pretty short, but again, that also could just be because I picked up a monster of a book. But it's only about 230 pages, but the idea of this book sounds really interesting to me because I like kind of suspenseful books like that, but I'm excited to read this one. The next three books, last three books I'm about to show you, are books that are all series books. I'm not for sure trilogies. I believe all of them are at least trilogies. But I usually don't pick up trilogies. These are books that I've been wanting to read for a while just because the plotline sounds so interesting. So hopefully I can get myself into reading series books again. I just not hate reading series, but I dislike it just because I don't want to make that much of a commitment to a book. Just because, I don't know, I like changing plot lines of books frequently. Like, I like being able to pick up a whole new plot line when I pick up a book, not continue a plot line that I already read, but that's just my short 2 cents on that. But this book is, I already know I'm going to butcher this author's name, so I apologize in advance. This is The Rosie Project by Grammy Simsian, and I've heard so many things about this book. It sounds so good, and I ordered it and I went to Half Price Books. I had a copy of it, fairly cheap, and I literally almost bought it just because I've been dying to read this book for a while now, and I almost bought it even though I already knew I purchased it from Book Outlet because I've been wanting to read this book that badly. And again, I do know what this book is about. I just want, again, to kind of read the plotline because I don't want to misinterpret or tell things wrong, incorrectly about this book, because it's The plotline of it is so good, and I feel like people watch this video will also agree and want to read this book just because of the plotline of it. Meet Don Tillman, a brilliant yet socially challenged professor of genetics who's decided it's time he found a wife. And so in the orderly, evidence-based manner with which Don approaches all things, he designs the Wife Project to find his perfect partner, a 16-page, scientifically valid survey to filter out the drinkers, the smokers, the late arrivers. Rosie Drummond is all these things. She also is strangely beguiling, fiery, and intelligent. And while Don quickly disqualifies her as a candidate for the Wife Project, as a DNA expert, Don is particularly suited to help Rosie on her own quest, identifying her biological father. When an unlikely relationship develops as they collaborate on the Father Project, Don is forced to confront the spontaneous whirlwind that is Rosie, and the realization that despite your best scientific efforts, you don't find love, it finds you. Arrestingly endearing and entirely unconventional, Graham Simpson's distinctive debut will resonate in anyone who has ever tenaciously gone after life or love in the face of great challenges. The Rosie Project is a rare find, a book that restores our optimism in the power of human connection. A lot of big words, but again, I haven't even read this book, and I already feel like I'm gonna love it, and I'm already excited to read it. So I'm pulling my own hair. I'm really excited to read it, though. I'm really, 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 really excited. One of the last books that I have, which is also a series book, is Cracked by K.M. Walton. This is a book that I'd seen a book out a lot, and it kind of was here and there. It would get sold out, and it was always my wish list of a book that I really wanted, but I'm really bad at getting into series books, so I always didn't really want to buy it. Then finally I decided to buy it, and it was, how much was it? $6. But again, I chose the hardcover version, so some of these books are more expensive just because they're hardcovers, but a lot of these books are also in paperback, so if you are interested in these books and you really want to buy them, there's probably a cheaper version in softcover. Just keep that in mind. This book says Victor hates his life. He has no friends, he gets beaten up at school, and his parents are always criticizing him. Tired of feeling miserable, Victor takes a bottle of his mother's sleeping pills, only to wake up in the hospital. Bull is angry, and he takes all of his rage out on Victor. That makes him feel better, at least a little, but doesn't stop Bull's grandfather from getting drunk and hitting him, so Bull tries to defend himself with a loaded gun. When Victor and Bull end up as roommates in the same psych ward, there's no way to escape each other or their problems, which means things are going to get worse, much worse, before they get better. And that is that book. The last book that I have to show you is a book that one time when I did go to Barnes & Noble, a store person working at the store told me she really, really highly recommended this book, but again, I didn't want to buy it full price at the time because I just don't do that. And it was also a series book, so it was kind of like the two negatives for me. But again, I saw it on Book Outlet, and it was fairly cheap, and it was the first book of the series. And this book is The Program by Suzanne Young. And I will vaguely describe this book. Okay, ready? Ready? Sloane knows better than to cry in front of anyone. With suicide now an international epidemic, one outburst could land her in the program, the only proven course of treatment. Sloane's parents have already lost one child. Sloane knows they'll do anything to keep her alive. She also knows that everyone who's been through the program returns as a blank slate because their depression is gone, but so are their memories. Under constant surveillance at home and in school, Sloane puts on a brave face and keeps her feelings buried as deep as she can. The only place Sloane can be herself with is James. He's promised to keep them both safe and out of treatment, and Sloane knows their love is strong enough to withstand anything. But despite the promises they made to each other, it's getting harder to hide the truth. They are both growing weaker, depression is setting in. And that is that. And this book was $7, but again, I think it's going to be well worth the price. And that is all the books I have for you this month. I hope you enjoyed this book haul of August, and I again will be making videos in the next month. If you have any comments, suggestions, anything, please comment them down below, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.